Hi everyone, this is Rich, and thank you for listening to all the WrestleManias. Because the following episode was pre-recorded, we felt it would be remiss not to take a moment at the start to send our regards to the friends, family, and fans of both Terry Funk and Wyndham Rotunda, better known as Bray Wyatt. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of All the WrestleManias, the podcast. I'm your co-host, Tim Hackman.
And I'm your co-host, Rich Sigwald.
We're always excited to be with you in the studio. We've got a big surprise for you today. Hopefully you caught our most recent episode all about WrestleMania 38 from back in 2012.
WrestleMania 28, you mean?
Did I say 20? What did I say?
You said 38. Jesus. Come on, man. Come on.
Oh, sorry. I was hoping we could just skip the next 10, I guess. Because that shit was long. But anyway, 28 from 2012. It's a good one. You should check it out. Rich says it's our funniest episode to date.
I think so. I chuckled. I laugh at myself all the time, though. So,
yeah,
whatever.
It's because you're goofy looking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, so we have had a number of guests on recently, and we're always excited to welcome folks to the show. So today we've got some big timers. We've welcomed Benjamin Banks and Diamond Victor Griff, the tag team duo known as Golden Pinky Society, former Virginia Championship Wrestling tag team champions, a couple of awesome guys. So Benjamin and Griff, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us up here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It does sting a bit for you to say former VCW tag team champions.
Well, that was going to be my first show, or my first question, and just condolences on the loss to NRG at the Liberty Lottery here in Norfolk. Just this month, earlier, or the end of July, right? How are you guys coping with the loss? Are you eating your feelings? Are you doing therapy? How y'all feeling?
Well, it's not really being upset about the fact that we lost. It's more of being upset with how we lost. We were cheated. Jerry doing what Jerry Stephanitsis does.
Boo.
And, after we had lost those titles, the fans that were there at the Kroc Center, they felt just like how we were feeling. They were upset. They felt cheated because that was the only way that those guys could win was by cheating. Me and Griff, we won those tag titles, and we've faced a lot of great tag teams. And every team that we stepped into that ring with, we always gave it our all, and they always gave it their all as well. The only difference is when we faced these other tag teams was that they didn't have a manager out there with them. And NRG, they had Jerry out there with him. I don't think that he was injured. Griff, do you think that he was injured?
I don't think he was injured. I think it was a masterfully crafted plan from the get-go. But let's face it, Jerry has had it in for us, and he's been out to get us since day one. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the guy that called the hit way back a couple of years ago when your pinky got broken.
Yeah, that makes sense. My pinky got broken, and then unfortunately the stuff happened because of the pandemic, where it's just I didn't even get a chance to get back in the ring and get my hands on the guys that did it because they ended up breaking up
and retiring.
And then one of them did come back, and he's been at Virginia Championship Wrestling a few times by himself, but still, it's just one of those things where it's I've said to Jerry before, because Jerry, he always finds some way to leave a comment on my Facebook page, even after, I block him. He keeps on finding ways to get up there. I think that he just keeps on making multiple accounts because my Facebook page is a public page. And it's just one of those things, man. Jerry, he's a slime ball. He's a sleazeball. He's a scumbag. What else is he, Griff?
He's a lot of different things. But he's pretty smart too, because he managed to put one over on one of us. He managed to come out on top. And let me tell you something about NRG while we're on the subject.
Please.
Hell of a tag team, okay? Not taking anything away from those guys. They didn't have to do what they did to come out on top and win those tag team titles. Had it been a straight-up match without all the shenanigans, without all the cheating, without outside interference, without Jerry running interference and all that other bogus stuff, had they actually been a tag team that rose up the ranks and came after us the right way, who knows what could have happened. But see, now it's very, very different for us because this is personal now. You know, you've taken something away from us that we worked hard for, that you really didn't work hard for at all. I mean, I can't take anything away from them as athletes, but their credibility, their integrity is very questionable.
Yeah. And then just to piggyback off of what Griff is saying, like, even when we had came out there for the match, like, I was surprised with how Brandon Matheny was acting. Mm-hmm. Like, he was being very biased against us as well. And we've never done anything to him. But it just seems like everybody in the company is against the Golden Pinky Society. And that is why we love our fans and we get our energy from our fans, our NRG. We get it from our fans because it's just like no matter what, through thick and thin, they always support us. I was just at a cosplay guest at Superstar Anime this past weekend, and like there were some VCW fans at the event, and they were still saying the same thing that we're talking about right now. They're pissed off that me and Diamond Victor Griff are no longer the Virginia Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions, and you know, what can we say to them?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, the next event is coming up. Jerry said that we're banned from the building, you know? And us being banned from the next event, like, what does that say about our future at Virginia Championship Wrestling?
I mean, I think, to me, it says that he's afraid of y'all. That's what it says to me, but that's just one fella's opinion.
I think you need to get everybody's pal George Pantis on this case, the commissioner, and maybe a cage match, you know, something to keep Jerry out of it. Just a thought.
A cage match, that sounds good to me, but I think a ladder match would be even better.
Oh man,
because you know Jerry's afraid of heights, so he wouldn't dare step foot on a ladder if we had a ladder match for the tag team titles. I mean, that would be interesting, since Jerry likes to point out that that's the only thing relevant that I've done in the last 10, 12 years at VCW. So that would be fitting to have a rematch be a ladder match. And while we're on the subject, I'm going to say something about Brandon Matheny as well. I met Brandon Matheny in a gym. He was struggling. He was scrambling. I encouraged him. I think maybe he's one of those guys that probably got bullied when he was younger. And I don't condone bullying in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, sometimes those guys that get bullied, they end up with those executive positions or a position of power, or they end up being the boss's pet. And this is him flexing his muscle as being the boss's pet by talking to us any kind of way, not acknowledging us when he's introducing us. And, you know, the list goes on and on. I've heard his commentary. It's very unbiased, or biased, rather, to the guys that he likes and the guys that are on good terms with Jerry. So, I mean, they're all in against us, and that's fine. Nobody gave us a chance at the very beginning, and we've done just fine.
Yeah, you guys have been doing all right. How long did you hold that belt in all? That tag team title?
Yeah, 15 months. We won them back last April, and you know, being the tag team champions, like I said earlier, like everybody that we stepped in the ring with, we gave it our all. You know, it's like we had the crowd behind us. We were feeding off of their energy. And, you know, even when some of the guys that we were in the ring with, when they weren't playing fair and they tried to use their cheap tricks and stuff like that, me and Griff, we still always prevailed. And like I said, the difference between them and NRG was that they had Jerry out there with. I mean, shoot, I mean, like even going back to the ODU show when we faced Miles and Jerry was out there then, and Jerry, like, he almost cost us our titles that time too. You know, the only difference between those guys and NRG is that NRG are friends with Jerry. You know, like for the last several months, you know, Reason, he came back to Virginia Championship Wrestling because of Jerry. You know what I'm saying? Like, him and Jerry have always been friends. Logan, there was times where, you know, me and Griff, we would go to other wrestling companies up in Northern Virginia. We would see Logan up there. We would see Reason up there. And what would they always ask us? How's Jerry doing? I haven't seen Jerry. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, even going as far back then, it's just like they were already scouting us. They already knew what we did. They knew what we could do in the ring and whatnot. So it's just like they already knew what they were coming into the ring with. The whole thing with Logan showing up when it was originally supposed to be Jerry and Reason, we didn't know that. We didn't know that Logan was coming out there. It was a surprise to us, just like it was a surprise to the fans. And, you know, like Griff said, you know, not taking anything away from both of those guys, because both of those guys, they are talented in the ring. You know, they've both held championships in Virginia Championship Wrestling before they won the tag titles. So, again, nothing to them. I even told Reason before on a Facebook post, because he came on to one of my posts, and I told him, I was just like, hey, look, Jerry's a slime ball. You know, I know that, you know, sometimes people, they fall off their path and they align themselves with crummy people. But I still think that, you know, deep inside that you're a good guy, and maybe you just need to start hanging out with the right people.
To piggyback on that, hanging out with the wrong people and associating with the wrong people, my tag team partner knows firsthand about Jerry Stephanitsis, because Jerry Stephanitsis was his manager once upon a time and promised him this, promised him that, promised him the other. But then when Jerry felt like his worth had run out, his usefulness had run out, he dropped him like a bad habit. Everything this man has done, he's done on his own. He's earned it on his own. Even if you think the money shuffle is the silliest thing you've ever seen, he took that so-called silly dance and made something out of that.
We like the money shuffle. We'll rep for the money shuffle. We were just watching that before you guys came on from an older match from like back in 2017. Is that what you found, Rich?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's one of the silliest things I've ever seen.
I'm into it.
And the reason I think it's silly is because I'm the first one that saw that. Before anybody else saw the money shuffle, I'm the first one that saw it. But I endorsed it. I said, man, you need to do that. He didn't want to do it. I kept encouraging him to do it. You got to do that. You got to do it.
I mean, in my opinion, it looks more devastating than the people's elbow or the five-knuckle shuffle. So,
I mean, well, technically, I mean, it is more devastating. Yeah. And, you know, it's like my tag partner Griff was saying, I do remember, like, at first I was against doing it, and I thought it was funny. I was just only doing it to, you know, be funny. But sometimes those things that you do to be funny in other people's eyes, like, it could be a lot bigger. I mean, like, I'm sure you guys know the story about, like, how the People's Elbow came to life and how, you know, they tried to make The Undertaker laugh, and The Rock did his little shimmy and hit the People's Elbow, and he made The Undertaker laugh in the match, you know? And, you know, sometimes you just got to go out there, do something, and be creative and see if it works. If it doesn't work, you go back to the drawing board. And, like, that's one of the things that I love about wrestling, because no matter what, you can always try to see if something is going to work. And if it doesn't work again, like I said, you can always just go back to the drawing board.
Absolutely. And that's the same thing with the pinkies.
Yeah.
You know, some people could think it's ridiculous, it's over the top, but it works for us. It's worked for us for the last 5 years, and I don't see it not working for us anytime soon.
It's over, man. The fans love it. Like, I sort of we watch a lot of old wrestling, so we were thinking about the the bushwhackers with the arms going up and down, right? It's
Right, yeah.
It's something that the crowd can like do along and show their support and get into it, and it looks cool when a whole bunch of people do it all at once. And I think it's great. I think it's a good sign of just how into your team the fans are, that they really just went along with that whole thing. So
yeah, I mean, that's how you can get back at Jerry. If they're not going to let you guys in the building, you tell your fans, don't go to the show. You're not going to see us. Hurt the director right in his wallet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that sounds like a good idea, And I know what it's supposed to be, Jerry's birthday celebration. What I find funny about that is that you are having a birthday celebration for people who don't care that it's your birthday. So now you're about to have a bunch of people sit there for God knows how long just to see you make a fool out of yourself because it's your birthday. I guess it's like that song, It's My Birthday, I Can Cry If I Want to, because if me and Griff were in that building, Jerry definitely would be crying.
Maybe you can ship him one of those pies from The Help for his birthday.
And I don't think Jerry's ever seen that movie, so he wouldn't even get that reference. Griff, you seen that movie, right? You know about the reference?
I know about the reference. I know all about the reference. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry, it's pretty clear that Jerry's kind of a dirt. I mean, he loves Doink the Clown, so that's enough sign right there that he can't be trusted.
Exactly. And and this is also a guy, when I used to be close to 500 pounds, he never pushed me to go to the gym. He never gave me motivation to get into better shape. He just used me because of my size. And when at the time Brandon Scott was the VCW heavyweight champion, he used me. There were times where Brandon should have lost the belt, and Jerry used me as the hired muscle. You know what I'm saying? And Jerry, he used to always make sure that he was feeding me well. He was always giving me pizza, always giving me cakes. He would take me over to his dad's house. They would get me drunk. They would do all this stuff. And again, like I said, you hang out with the wrong people, and they're going to do that type of stuff to you. But you want to know somebody that was always pushing me after I cut away from Jerry, somebody that was saying, hey, you need to hit the gym, you need to get in good shape, you need to better yourself. That was my tag partner, Diamond Victor Griff. Even before we were a tag team, this man was always saying, you need to hit the gym. And you know what? I finally took him up on his offer. I came to the gym with him. And then after that, the rest was history. Your boy, he lost over 200 pounds just going to the gym every single day, changing up his eating habits, dieting. The list goes on for like everything that I did to get in the shape that I'm in now. And, getting in good shape and staying healthy, it's like playing a video game. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you have to consistently do. You can't just give up on it. You can't stop doing it, because the moment you stop, that's when you lose. And I mean, speaking of the gym, I can even talk about a time where, there was one time I did go to the gym with Jerry. There was one time. And you want to know what he did the entire time we were at the gym?
Let me guess.
He just stood there. Who goes to the gym and just stands there? And, I'm like, why are we even here? Like, it's like I'm sitting here like trying to get in better shape. And again, this guy is somebody, he doesn't motivate people. He doesn't, encourage people or any of that stuff. He only cares about himself, and he only cares about playing his stupid little video games, and that's it. Oh, and doesn't he care about what his nice little shoe collection that he has? I know one time when we were in the back, Griff had saw that Jerry had some shoes after he had just given us a lecture on, what he was going to do to ensure that we lost our VCW tag titles. And Griff, talk about that situation.
Jerry in his shoes. What I wouldn't give to have a moment like the movie Friday when Debo got knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
What I wouldn't give to have like the opportunity to recreate Debo's shoes getting stolen off of his knocked out body. Wouldn't that be classic? Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be amazing.
And then I'd sell them on eBay.
Hell yeah, you would.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
You know, because Jerry, I mean, all he's done is try to embarrass us, try to mock us, try to put us down, try to keep us down. I mean, a couple of months ago at the ODU event, I don't know who did it. I don't know who was involved, but I know Jerry's fingerprints were all over it. I got ambushed, so I couldn't be out there with my partner during his match or lack thereof a match because it really wasn't a match. It was an ambush. And, of course, Jerry reaped the rewards and got his hand raised in what you on paper can call a match, but it wasn't a match. It was a mockery. And then, you know.
Yeah, we were there. That was a sham. That whole thing was a sham. It was that was an embarrassment to the business. It was an embarrassment to VCW. It was an embarrassment to honestly, it was an embarrassment to the Commonwealth of Virginia and the greater Mid-Atlantic area. What Jerry tried to get over on you guys at that one. So I think we've established that he is definitely a dirt. We had him on the show a little while back. He was trying to, prevaricate and spin a line of bullshit.
I feel like he's gonna want to come back on after this. Oh boy!
I don't know if we should let him. Honestly, Rich gave him the business last time he was on. He was trying to get away with some slick stuff, and Rich was all up on him. So, yeah. Anyway. I think Rich, you had a question, didn't you? You wanted to ask.
Yeah. So word has traveled up to me here and outside of DC that Griff, you've suffered a rib injury.
3 fractured ribs on my left side. Yeah. That was as a result of being forearmed and knocked off the ring apron and onto the floor back at the Liberty Lottery. And I guess that's insult to injury as we would go on to lose those tag titles. And I was forced to compete in the Liberty Lottery after Jerry knew that I was already hurt. That if you do not compete in that Liberty Lottery tonight, you do not return to VCW ever. So a little salt in the wounds. I still had to gut it out and come out to the ring and compete after I knew I was already hurt.
That's really crappy. How are you feeling now?
I'm coming along. I got a few more weeks of recovery, and then I'll be 100%. So looking forward to being 100% and being able to get back to doing what I love to do.
I mean, everybody knows that the apron is the hardest part of the ring. So clearly when your ribs bounce off of it, that definitely cannot be a pleasant experience. And so we hope you can recover and get back in the ring and get after it again, because you guys got a lot left in you that Jerry is keeping away from the fans, and that is unacceptable. And you guys would always be welcome up here in Maryland. I'll come see you.
I didn't fall on the ring apron. I fell off of it.
Oh, even
ouch.
worse.
So it was from the ring apron to the floor.
Well, the concrete underneath the ring apron is the hardest part of
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, not pleasant at all.
Well, that sucks. Yeah, we hope you're able to recover. And yeah, let's see. What else do we want to ask you guys about? So we were watching some of your older matches today on YouTube, just sort of prepare a little bit. And it seems, you mentioned this a little bit, but since you guys are both such big dudes, the other teams need to really sort of rely on cheating, to get past you. Does that get old, or you just kind of expect it at this point?
I mean, it's something that we kind of expect at this point, because, I mean, even the matches that we had before we got to NRG, Reason, he stuck his nose in those matches. It was a few of them. One at the Croc Center where Griff went up to the top rope so we could hit the pinky attack, the Bacardi, yeah, Griff went up to the top rope, and who came out there hot dogging it? Came with the steel chair. Reason, hit Griff right on the back, and it's one of those things where it's funny because I was just on Coast Live for on CBS Channel 3, and April Woodard, one of the host on Coast Live, she had made a joke saying that I would love to come out there and manage you guys, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, I'm just like, that's the one thing that the Golden Pinky Society has never had help with in Virginia Championship Wrestling. It's just like, we've been there to help people out when they got jumped. We've been there to, help people after they got jumped. But there's been several times where it's just like stuff has happened to us and nobody's come out there, and I know that there's some people that, maybe they don't come out there because they may fear what's going to happen to them because Jerry is in a position of power. And by them coming out there to help us, they could possibly get fired from Virginia Championship Wrestling. They could be put in handicap matches. I remember when I was younger, a long time ago, Impact Wrestling, the Pope Elijah Burke, who was somebody who wrestled at Virginia Championship Wrestling as well, he got put in a 1-on-5 handicap match. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we're friends with Desmond King. We've teamed up with him. We've done stuff with him before, and really good guy, young guy. Has a good head on his shoulders, and somebody that I can see doing big things in Virginia Championship Wrestling. Phil Brown, that's somebody that we've done stuff with before. Somebody that everybody considers as a legend here in the area, for the career that he's had and the stuff that he's done, not only inside of the ring, but on the outside of the ring. It's like we do have some friends in VCW, but it's just one of those things where it's just like they don't know what could happen to them. And we don't want anybody to have to lose out on, winning titles and making money because they want to stand up to Jerry and do the right thing. But honestly, you got to take out the snake. You cut off the snake's head, you get rid of him, and Jerry needs to be gone from Virginia Championship Wrestling. Things was good when George Panthers was there. And then Jerry came in, and he's just been a thorn in our side ever since.
It's his own personal playground, his own personal sandbox. It's like he's like M. Bison, and he's ruling VCW with the iron fist, and his minions are like the Shadaloo soldiers, and we're like a couple of guys that are trying to fight this machine, and it's a war that we're kind of losing, but we haven't given up on this war just yet.
Man, I knew you guys would bring the video game references, so I appreciate that. Thanks for thanks for busting that out. That was good.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, so let's do the Larry King probing interview here.
No probing, please.
No. So where did you guys grow up, and how long have you two known each other?
So I'm from Norfolk. I grew up in Norfolk. Griff, what about you?
Grew up in Norfolk, originally from Blacksburg.
Okay.
And I want to say me and Griff, we've known each other since 2012. Yeah, 2012 is how long we've known each other. It's so crazy. And, I don't think a lot of people know this story, but back before I started my journey on becoming a professional wrestler, I had came to a VCW show, and Griff was facing off against Paul London. And I remember sitting in the crowd and seeing him have this amazing match against this guy, and they tore the house off, man. Tore the roof off. I said tore the house off, same thing. But it's like me sitting there in the audience back in 2012, and then, fast forward to now, and we're a tag team. And, you know, not only have we been successful in Virginia Championship Wrestling, you know, we've won titles and several other promotions along the East Coast. And that's just from, you know, us knowing each other that long. You know, I know that when Griff first met me back in 2012, when I did start training, I'm pretty sure like he would have never expected that he would be teaming up with me, because when he looked at me, all he saw was a nobody, but now he sees a somebody.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. It's been a long road. Yeah, we have been teaming for quite a while, and we have collected some championships up and down the East Coast. We've been hitting the highways and byways, and this isn't just my tag team partners. This isn't just my friend. This is my little brother right here. You know, the Golden Pinky Society isn't a partnership; it's a brotherhood. It's deeper than that. You know, and no, I couldn't have guessed that we would have been tagging. But you know, as I got to know him, as I got to advise him on things that I would see him do when he was wrestling, and he would take to the advice and not just, you know, like, oh, well, okay, whatever. No, he would actually listen, and I'd tell him why you shouldn't do some of the stuff you're trying to do. You know, he's been killing it as far as improving in the ring, from his ring ability to his in-ring shape, to his physical appearance, just overall, even his ring attire, he's improved. So all aspects, I've seen a tremendous amount of improvement. And I want to say, I would say he's come out of his shell more in the last few years. Now that he's doing the podcast and doing the cosplay and all of that stuff, he's come out of his shell. It's more the real Benjamin Banks coming to the forefront than just Benjamin Banks the wrestler, and that's all I do. He's embraced who he is. He's embraced himself 100%.
That's awesome. So, Griff, you had already been working for a little bit then in 2012 when Benjamin first saw you there. How long had you been working with VCW at that point?
I think on and off for like 4 years. Something like that. But see, that was back in the dark days. That was when I was still bending and breaking rules, taking shortcuts, cheap shots, doing anything and everything that I could to get a win. So I understand what these guys are doing to us, because I know it. I've been on the opposite side of it.
Well, when you're in the
but
ring
I know
with
how
Paul
it feels
London,
to go out there. Yes.
When you're in the ring with Paul London, you got to pull out all the stops. So.
Well, when you're in the ring with Paul London and you're in a match type you've never been in before, and you're going after your first singles championship in your career, in your hometown, you kind of got to pull out all the stops. You've encouraged, you know, high school friends and cousins and all of these other people to come. Hey, I'm gonna get it done tonight. Da, 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 da. So I had a plan B, I had a plan C, I had a plan D, and when all of those failed, I pulled out some handcuffs and handcuffed them to the bottom rope and moseyed my way up to that ladder and took that championship as my own.
You got to do what you got to do in those matches.
And then along the way, maybe I might have ripped someone's sign on the way to the ring. Maybe.
Accidents happen.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It was the heat of the moment.
I mean,
it was a different time. Everybody was doing it.
They hang them out, and they hang them out in the aisle like that. I mean, what are you going to do, you know?
Well, he had like this sign that said, "This diamond is made of glass." So I didn't really appreciate that.
That's hurtful.
So I ripped it up.
I saw a fan at the last show. It may have been me. I won't cop to it. Who had a big old Jerry Sucks sign. So I'm just, you know, sometimes those signs I
remember seeing that sign.
Yeah, sometimes those signs speak the truth. So.
Was that the sign that I grabbed?
I don't remember, man.
No, I still have.
Remember.
I still have Jerry Sucks. It's in my closet for future events.
I know that there's been, you know, people that have had Golden Pinky Society signs in the crowd and whatnot, and you know, it's always cool to come out to the ring and see that. I mean, I know one time there were 2 fans that had styrofoam golden pinkies.
That's
you
pretty
know,
cool.
and I thought that was really cool. And it just goes back to what I was saying at the start of this interview. Like the fans, they really, really love us. They are always behind us. I mean, I've even been told by one fan that, me and Griff are the heart and soul of Virginia Championship Wrestling. And, to be told that, like I take that personal, because there's been a lot of people that have wrestled for Virginia Championship Wrestling. And there's a lot of people that have, gone on to do, bigger things and bigger companies and stuff like that. And, to be told that we're the heart and soul, like it just really means a lot. And, I just hope that one day, like when me and Griff, when we, hang up the boots and, go on with our futures, no matter what it's going to be, I hope that we had left a huge impact on Virginia Championship Wrestling, and that people will always remember us for everything that we did when we were in that company.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure. I mean, I think, when I think about the company now, I think you guys are right there at the top with the best of them. So I think, and like you said, the fan reaction has kind of shown that folks do care. They really get into it. They like what you've got to offer, and they appreciate your heart and your spirit out there. So, Rich, you want to ask the question we always ask?
Sure. I mean, who are your all favorite wrestlers, tag teams, influences on your style? Who are the guys you watched and currently watch?
Okay, I'll go first. So coming up, there were two guys who were my influences when it came to, what made me want to become a professional wrestler, and that was The Rock, and that was Macho Man Randy Savage. I just always loved how entertaining both of those guys were in the ring. Wrestling wise, of course, Randy Savage, I would say that he's a better wrestler than The Rock, but at the same time, that's not taking anything away from The Rock, because The Rock is a great wrestler as well. But it's two different wrestling styles, and Randy Savage, I want to say, like, all around, like, he had all of the boxes checked, whereas The Rock, when it came to, straight fighting and getting in that ring and just kicking people around and everything, like, I give that to The Rock. Sometimes you have to be a brawler, and I'll say that growing up, like, I often imitated both of them a lot. And for me to be where I am now in life, whether it be in wrestling or in cosplay, I owe a lot to those guys and other guys as well for influencing me on, like, how to entertain the crowd. I mean, I remember before I even got into cosplay, I had went to I want to say it was a video game trivia night at Dave and Buster's, and I had went there with another wrestler and some friends, and there was a cosplay contest going on, and I remember, I was just like, I'm about to enter the cosplay contest. I was just wearing regular clothes. I was just wearing a hoodie and some jeans. And of course, like, I was just going up there to be funny, but honestly, I really shouldn't have gone up there to be funny, because I know how to control a room, because I'm an entertaining person. And I get up there, and you have all these cosplayers. It's Super Mario, Princess Peach, Ness. You had the whole Donkey Kong family. Everybody was cosplaying. They get to me, they ask me, well, who are you cosplaying as? And I'm like, I'm cosplaying as Street Thug #1 from Final Fight. And everybody in the room lost it. I started hyping people up. And when it came time to, ask the audience who won, when they got to me, the room lost it, and I won. And I remember people were mad that I won. I mean, and they should rightfully have been mad, because I was just wearing a hoodie and some jeans. You had people who, like, made these costumes, and they lost to a guy in a hoodie and some jeans. And then even going down to where I am now in the cosplay world and being a guest at a con, and my table this past weekend, it felt like it was a huge party going on over there. You know, it's just like, it was like, I know some of the volunteers, they was telling me, they was just like, man, every time I come around the corner, you always got a line of people at your table. Like, I'm hearing from, just word of mouth around the con that your tables is popping around here and everything. And it's like, I can draw a crowd. It's like I say it all the time. You put a mic in my hand, I'm going to get the job done, because that's just what I do. I'm good on the microphone and I love to talk. I have the gift of gab. So going back to your question, it's because of Macho Man Randy Savage. It's because of The Rock that I took those things and it helped influence me. Now, wrestling wise, I give a lot to, the bigger guys, like, your Mark Henrys, your Viscera, Mabel, Big Daddy V, whatever you want to call them, your Big Shows, your Bam Bam Bigelows. Back when I first started in the business, I was over 400 pounds when I first started. And, of course, like, I couldn't do like the top rope stuff. And, you see the stuff that Keith Lee does and whatnot. And, I see him. I'm like, man, I really wish that I could, do some of the stuff that he can do. Now, I could do some of the stuff that he does now because I've lost a lot more weight. Like, if you would have told me back in 2013 to go up to the top rope, I wouldn't go up to the top rope. But now, like, as they call me, medium money banks, I'll go up to the top rope now. So, yeah, that's it for me. Griff, what about you?
As far as tag teams, I grew up in the 80s, so you had the Road Warriors, you had the Rock and Roll Express, you had a host of great tag teams that was all over the place. But, the Road Warriors, they were just these big monsters, and they beat everybody, pretty quickly. And I think a couple of times, like I think it was when Animal was out with an injury, Paul Ellering got in there, and they still squashed guys, they still steamrolled guys. As far as favorites, I'm gonna say a few favorites. The same thing as my partner. Of course, Macho Man with all those colorful outfits, especially like from WrestleMania 4 when he would change outfits between matches. That's the type of stuff that I would do. That's the type of stuff that I have done. I've been known to do it. Even back at the Liberty Lottery, even when I was injured, even when I was forced to go back out there, my mind told me I got 2 pair of trunks that I was going to wear tonight. One for the lottery and one for the match. And when I was forced to go into the lottery, I was forced to have to shimmy those trunks off and put the other pair on, because that's just me. If I'm coming out, if I'm appearing twice, if I'm wrestling twice, you're going to get 2 different appearances, 2 different attires. That's just how I'm wired. As far as like my jackets and vests and headbands and all of that stuff, it's so many different people that influence that. Like even from the tassels, from Ultimate Warrior wearing the tassels, or the British Bulldog, or Macho Man Randy Savage wearing the tassels. That's where I got that from. And then having the logo on the knee pads. Ultimate Warrior did it. I think Bulldog did it. Shawn Michaels did it. Even the armbands, like Shawn Michaels and Bulldog will wear some. My vest, I first patterned it off of after Stone Cold Steve Austin originally, having the logo on one side, the initials on the other, and a logo on the back. And then I would go even further with that and patterned it somewhat like Stunning Steve Austin during the Stunning Steve days, with the trim, with the sequin trim around it, with the rhinestones on it, and so it's evolved in itself. I've got like an evolution of my vests and jackets and stuff like that I can look back and say, this is what I was doing in this period of time, and this is why I was doing it this way, and then this and this and this all the way down the line. As far as moves, I've taken things from, you name it, from the Garvin Stomp to the flipping snapmare that Mr. Perfect used to do, even the seated clothesline in the corner that The Miz does, the Rude Awakening style neck breaker, the swinging neck breaker like the Honky Tonk Man would do. So, of course, the rock bottom. Every now and again, not all the time, but every now and again, I'll pull out a people's elbow. So, I mean, it's a lot of people it's a lot of different guys that influence me. I'm watching the product sparingly now. I'm not watching it all the time, but I have really dug I've dug the stuff with MJF and Adam Cole. I've dug that, and I've dug the stuff with the Bloodline
Yeah.
and the Judgment Day actually too as well. So I've dug that.
Yeah, we watch a little bit of both. I watch more WWE than Rich does, I think, these days. But we both watch AEW pretty religiously. Are you guys going to get the pay-per-view this weekend? All in, all out.
All out. No, I thought it was all in.
All in.
Yeah, all in.
One or the other.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I have a busy weekend. I'm actually supposed to be going to visit some friends, and it's one of my friends. It's his wife's birthday, so
Nice.
I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling this weekend. And I just found out that All In starts at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, that means that I have to leave my friend's house. I want to say it's like a 3-hour drive, then drive back, and then I'm supposed to be making chicken parm sliders, which is something I've never made before, and now I got to try and factor that in with also trying to go to the gym too. So, man, you know what? Maybe, I'll cook, I'll eat, and then I'll go to the gym afterwards. But it's not going to be like a super late night workout because that would just kill me.
I got a few things lined up.
A $50 pay-per-view is a very generous birthday gift. So you could watch at their house.
Yeah. Get it for his wife.
We have been spoiled for the last several years with the WWE Network. I mean, those of us that came up during the Dark Ages that had to pay unless you had the chip or unless a buddy had the chip. You know what chip I'm talking about. You know that cable chip. I knew someone that had the chip, so I was watching all the pay-per-views for free.
Nice.
Even the ones I didn't want to watch. It was free, so I was watching it anyway. Like I think it was whichever WCW pay-per-view that I think it was like a concert was on the pay-per-view. This is like 98 or something like that. It's either Road Wild or Hog Wild, one of them.
Yeah, I think it's Hog Wild from Sturgis.
It was one of them that had a concert like right in the middle for no reason at all. I think that's the one. I think it might have been the one with Goldberg in the Battle Royal with the NWO. I think that was the one.
Man, you're hardcore if you watch that stuff. That's like the in your house pay-per-views, just sort of the ones they put on in between the main ones. So.
Oh yeah.
So Benjamin, I know you talked a little bit about your cosplay scene. And Griff, I just thought and we'll come back to that in a second. Griff, I just thought I'd ask you, do you have stuff that you're up to outside of the ring night right now? Anything you wanted to plug or talk about?
Nothing I really want to plug right now, but I mean, I advise and I challenge everyone to do something physical, do something, some activity, stay active. Because I mean, just because I'm down and out with an injury, my legs work just fine. So I'm getting a lot of steps in. I'm doing a lot of cardio. Going to the track. I'm doing 20 laps around the track. Now, look, I'm not running. These are 20 power walking laps, but in under an hour, I'm getting those 20 laps done. So
it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I went to the track and lost $100. So you're doing better than me.
Hey yo, that's terrible.
Wow.
And yeah, so Benjamin, I was watching your posts from the cosplay con. Was that at Virginia Beach this weekend?
Yeah, Superstar Anime. Yup, at the Virginia Beach Convention Center.
Man, that looked like a lot of fun. So I don't, I'm not down with all the anime. Who was that character that you were dressed as?
Which one? Because I was one person on Saturday, then I was somebody on Sunday.
The blue dude.
Okay, so his name is Kisame, and he is a character from Naruto.
Okay.
And I want to say that he's probably one of my most popular cosplays that I've done since I've been cosplaying, because there's not a lot of people that paint themselves blue. And I feel like when it comes to cosplay, you have to show dedication, just like with wrestling. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to go all out for some of these characters that you want to cosplay as. Now, at the same time, it's fine if you don't want to go all out, but I feel like if you want to really bring this character to life and you want others to, when they see you, they see the character that they used to see in the anime, a cartoon, a video game, even TV shows. Because I mean, like, you have people that cosplay as the Power Rangers and stuff like that. I just always feel like you should just always go all out. I had also made a prop sword. I made one for him before, but I made the sword how it looks when it's unwrapped, and that was a huge hit at the convention. And it's a pretty heavy sword, and the cool thing about it is that your boy's in the gym all the time, so like me lifting the sword up, it's nothing to me to be able to lift it up, hold it up in the air. I know that there were a lot of people that loved it when I would pick the sword up and I would move it over their heads and whatnot, because the thing is really huge. And it's crazy because I had got into a conversation with somebody who picked my sword up when I wasn't at the table, and they had messed up my handle. Now, I'm going to tell you, I put a lot of time and energy into making this thing, and to come back over to the table and see that my handle was messed up, and for the people to tell me like who the person was that did it, you damn sure I went and gave him a piece of my mind. And I try to tell a lot of cosplayers, because I come into the cosplay community with my wrestling background, and I tell people, if people listen to this interview, if you're a cosplayer, if you ever wanted to get into cosplay, if you ever wanted to get into professional wrestling, wrestling, it helps you in so many ways. Just building my confidence and, me becoming a stronger talker, just like how I'm talking now. I owe a lot to wrestling. Wrestling, opened so many doors for me. I mean, shoot, like, wrestling is kind of how I even got my foot in the door in the con scene, in the first place. And then, just doing the cosplay stuff later on down the road after I lost weight, that's, where I got to because of wrestling. But, yeah, I went to this dude and, I gave him a stern talking to. And I tell people all the time, it's just like, stand your ground. Like, don't let people walk over you. Don't let people bully you. And I tell people all the time, it's just like, you feel like you having an issue with somebody at a convention, come and get your boy, because your boy will shut it down. Because, not everybody's confrontational. A lot of cosplayers, they're introverts. They don't know how to deal with, people being mean to them and whatnot. But that's where your boy Benjamin Banks steps in. And I don't care how many people you have with you in your little group and, what you're going to say to try and embarrass somebody or make somebody, feel like they are lesser than themselves, because that's a form of bullying. And I stand up against bullies, So, yeah.
That's really cool. I'm glad that that community definitely seems like it's a very sort of open and welcoming kind of community. I haven't been to a cosplay con, but I do enjoy the Comic Cons, and I love just seeing the folks and just the creativity and the craftsmanship. And I thought I was sort of a, I don't know, advanced amateur on the Halloween costume side of things, but y'all, like, really, I got nothing to compare. So,
do you do your own sewing and stuff like that on these costumes?
You said, do I do my own sewing?
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten to that level yet when it's come to making cosplays, but I will say when it comes to making props, like the prop that I'm looking at right now, and as we're doing this interview, the one that I said that it took me a lot of time and energy to make, it's big and it looks really good, and it was such a highlight at the con this past weekend. And just seeing people stop past the table and just asking me questions like, how long did it take me to make it? I will say I am a procrastinator, and the con was on Saturday. It was a Saturday and Sunday con. I started on the sword that Sunday, and I finished on Friday, and I really need to stop procrastinating when it comes to making stuff. But yeah, I mean, even Griff can tell you, like, there's times where, like, there's certain wrestling outfits that he wants to get done, and I'll get it to him like a week or two before a show, and I mean, it gets done. But I mean, he could tell you.
Well, the last time I had him do something. Matter of fact, the stuff we wore for the lottery, it was very tedious getting that done. It was like he didn't even see. I had a vision for how I wanted it to look. He didn't even get to see it till like before we competed that night. He didn't see it till day of before we competed. So that stuff that we had on at the lottery, that was done probably 24 hours before the actual event. And his was probably done about an hour or two before the actual event and delivered to us, almost like a DoorDash. So it was like a gear dash.
That's funny.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, it's like with the schedule that I have, when it comes to doing interviews for my podcast, going to the gym, and I feel like, yeah, that's just my schedule. It's just interviews in the gym. Like, I stay busy all the time, and that's something that Griff will say that, I know that you're always busy. That's why I try to get you to do things when you can. But that's something even like my family says about me. It's just like, you're always busy, you're always on the go. And I always say that it's good to be busy than to not be busy at all, because when you're not busy, then you just sit around and do nothing. And sitting around and doing nothing is not fun at all.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of cons and been to cosplay contests and stuff like that. And your talk about confidence and being able to deliver on the spot with talking, and its connection to wrestling. Anybody that cosplays Deadpool, the only thing that separates them is their skill on the stick
I agree.
at the competition. Like, if they don't have good shtick as Deadpool, then they might as well just be dressed as Spider-Man. Just go away. So,
it's crazy that you bring up Deadpool, because I'm really good friends with a cosplayer. His name is Johnny Five, and he cosplays as Deadpool. And when you see his cosplay, it looks like it's straight from the Deadpool movie. And not only does the cosplay look legit, when he talks the talk. Like, you think that it's Deadpool. And I just think it's funny that you bring that up, because a lot of people always say, like, when they think about Deadpool, they always, people that know him in the cosplay community, they always bring him up because he's good at what he does.
That's awesome. So mention actually made me think of, have you all, maybe it's a little inside baseball here for people outside of Norfolk, but that like makerspace that's down in Selden Market, they always have pictures of folks like cosplayers up who would have built stuff there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've walked. I think it's like the library or something like that. I've seen that in there before.
Yeah, it's very cool. The last time I was down, they had it was like a sort of display, and it was all about black superheroes and black cosplayers of various superheroes, and I thought that was really cool. And just the creativity that people brought to it, and even like flipping some traditionally non-black characters and doing them that way, it was really cool to see. And anyway, that seemed like a fun place. I think you're right. I think that's the makerspace actually attached to the Slover
library. It's crazy. Because I haven't been down there in a long time, but I do remember a few years ago when I had went there and I had saw what you're talking about. And one of the cosplayers that they had in there was somebody who I actually interviewed on my podcast, and I had took a picture of him. His name is the Champ Charles, and I believe the cosplay that they were showing was, I think he was either John Cena or Captain America.
That's awesome.
And I was just like, that's insane that, you know, you have a cosplayer featured here who lives all the way in Texas, and he even didn't know that about it, you know? So it's just, that's the cool thing about cosplay. Same thing like with wrestling, is you never know where you're going to show up at.
Yeah, that's cool. So
that's why sorry, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but that's another thing. Like, you know, me and Griff always say, keep your nose clean because you never know who's watching.
So that's the sword that you made on. Approximately how many Jerry's does it weigh?
Well, Jerry only weighs the amount of a wet washcloth, so it's definitely heavier than he is.
Nice. Had to get one more dig at Jerry in there.
Yeah.
That skinny motherfucker, or whatever that guy is. So you mentioned your podcast. It's Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Is that right? On YouTube?
Yes. Yeah, it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Yes, sir.
Nice. And so people should check that out for sure. I saw you had some voice actors on there, and looks like you had a lot of good guests and fun stuff on there. So that looks very cool.
Thank you.
And the VCW is back at Hampton High School Saturday, September 2nd. Tickets at VCWProWrestling.com. So your boys, the Golden Pinky Society, aren't officially allowed to be there, but who knows what could happen. Wrestling's a crazy business. All kinds of stuff can happen. So I encourage you all to get those tickets. Last I saw, they still had some front rows available. Those shows are a lot of fun. Take the family. You'll have a good time. There's no booze, so you don't have to worry about people getting all crazy and causing problems and stuff.
Should we do an in memoriam for Jerry right now?
Yeah, we should. So at the end, if you haven't listened to our show, and you and most people have not, but at the end of every show, we just take a little second and pay tribute to all the performers that we saw in that particular wrestling event that we watched who are no longer with us. So we usually say our in memoriam for this event, our interview with the Golden Pinky Society, August 22nd, 2003, includes the Director of Operations, Jerry Stephanitsis. I hope that guy
and Macho Man. We did mention
Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah,
there was a lot of Macho Man talk.
Rick Rude, Ultimate Warrior, Bam Bam Bigelow. All right,
Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect. Don't bring us down too much. So
no.
Any last thoughts from the GPS? Where do you guys go from here?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. You know what the future holds for me and Griff at Virginia Championship Wrestling. But I feel like, you know, because of the pandemic and whatnot, you know, we really haven't been doing that much traveling. So, you know, if one place doesn't want us, then, you know, maybe we hit the road and go to places where they do want us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Rich mentioned Maryland Championship Wrestling. They put on awesome shows just up the road, Joppa, Maryland. We saw Brandon up there ages ago, before I even knew who he was, and that was we saw the Briscoes up there. We saw a lot
of folks.
Yeah,
and I'll be going to the Pay Your Dues wrestling welcome home show that they're doing at the American Legion in Arbutus, Maryland on September 17th. And someone that we know, that you all know, is Dirty Money's going to be there. So that spurred me to buy tickets. So maybe guys can get you on the card up there or something.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining us. We really we do appreciate it. If y'all are listening and you want to check us out and find us on all your favorite podcast apps, we're on the Twitters at WrestleMania Pod, or on Facebook, all the WrestleManias. If you want to drop us a $5 to support the show, it's ko-fi.com/all the WrestleManias. And again, big shout out to Benjamin Banks, Diamond Victor Griff for joining us today. Good luck to the Golden Pinky Society and whatever comes next for y'all. And we're going to say so long for today.
Yeah, thank you again for having us up here. We really appreciate it. And also, I just wanted to say one last thing as well. You can find me, your hero Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Check out the podcast, Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, at Leveling Up Banks. It is on all social media platforms as well. Like I mentioned earlier, Apple Podcast, Spotify, you can listen to it there, or you can watch the videos from interviews up there. And then make sure that you follow the Golden Pinky Society Instagram account at Golden Pinky Society. And those are all of our socials.
Yeah, all those accounts are very worthwhile of following. They're a lot of fun.
All right. Right on. Thanks, guys.